All right, let's talk about AI ethics. We all hear the term, but it often feels like this big, abstract debate. So today, we're going to tackle a huge question. How do we get AI ethics to stop being just a topic for a panel discussion and start being something we can actually build? How do we move from just talking the talk to actually walking the walk with real working prototypes? And to get there, we're going to start, believe it or not, thousands of years in the past with Plato's allegory of the cave. So the story goes, you have these prisoners who have only ever seen shadows cast on a wall. And to them, those flickering shadows aren't just shadows, they're the absolute truth. It might sound like some dusty old philosophy tale, but it has this shockingly relevant connection to the world we're building with AI right now.
See that ancient metaphor? It maps shockingly well onto our modern lives. We're now living in what you could call the digital cave. Instead of a fire, we have algorithms casting shadows on our screens. And these shadows, our news feeds, our recommendations, our search results, they're shaping what we see and what we believe. And for the next generation, these AI-driven shadows won't feel like a filter. They'll just feel like reality.
So, if AI is casting these powerful new shadows, how do we make sure they're helpful and not, well, harmful? We need an anchor, right? A solid set of principles. And you might be surprised to hear that we can find a fantastic one in a government report from all the way back in the 1970s.
You see, the default setting for so much of our technology is basically optimize everything. It's this idea of finding the most efficient solution for the greatest number of people. But when you apply that cold, hard logic to messy human problems, it can get, well, pretty dehumanizing. Just think of an algorithm designed to distribute ventilators during a pandemic. Its logic might be to optimize for healthy years left, which means prioritizing the young and healthy. I mean, that's efficient for sure, but is that the kind of society we really want to build?
So as an alternative, we can look to the Belmont Report. Now, this wasn't cooked up in some tech think tank. It was born from real human suffering, created in response to truly unethical experiments like the Tuskegee syphilis study. And instead of just optimizing for outcomes, it establishes these non-negotiable duties to protect human dignity.
The very first principle is respect for persons. This is all about autonomy and informed consent. Now, in the AI world, this has to mean more than just a 50-page terms of service agreement that we all scroll through and click agree on without reading. It means designing systems with the real transparency, where you, the user, actually understand the bargain you're making with your data and have a genuine choice to opt out, not just what some people call informed required consent.
Next up is beneficence. And this is a really cool two-part idea. First, do no harm, and second, actively try to do some good. For AI, this means we have to move beyond this launch and learn mindset where we just release something and fix the problems after the damage is already done. It means stress testing for risks beforehand and making sure the promised benefits are real and measurable, not just some vague promise of a better future. And the third principle is justice. This one demands that we think really critically about who benefits from an AI system and who bears the risks. I mean, are we training a facial recognition system on data from one group of people and then deploying it on a completely different one? Justice means making sure the gains and the potential harms are distributed fairly and not just offloaded onto the most vulnerable among us. Okay, so we've got these three powerful principles: respect, beneficence, justice. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you actually translate them into something a machine can use, right? A computer doesn't understand justice in the abstract. This is where we get practical. To make this all concrete, we can borrow a brilliant concept from the psychologist Daniel Kahneman, System 1 and System 2 thinking. So System 1 is our fast, intuitive gut reaction thinking, and System 2 is our slow, deliberate, analytical thinking. This gives us a fantastic model for AI oversight. We need systems that can react quickly and systems that can reason slowly. Let's start with the fast thinkers, the System 1. The first prototype we'll look at is designed to uphold that principle of justice, and it's basically a fairness smoke detector. Its job isn't to put out the fire, just to beep really, really loudly when it smells smoke. So how does it actually work? Well, it's constantly scanning public mortgage lending data. And if it sees that approval rates for, say, one demographic group suddenly drop compared to another, beep, 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 the alarm goes off. No, this doesn't prove there's discrimination, not at all. But it's a powerful System 1 signal that says, hey, a human needs to look at this, right now. Okay, next up, a prototype for the principle of respect for persons. This one is designed to find what you could call financial food poisoning by sifting through millions of customer complaints to see who's getting sick from a financial product. This tool uses natural language processing to read through the enormous public database of consumer financial complaints. It automatically groups them by theme, spotting patterns like a sudden surge in complaints about locked accounts at one specific company. It's an incredibly fast way to hear the collective voice of frustrated customers and see where that principle of respect might be breaking down.
And for beneficence, that do no harm principle, we have a prototype that acts kind of like a tattletale, you know? It's watching the core systems of a bank and flagging anything that looks weird before it can cause widespread harm.
This is an anomaly detector. It scans system logs in real time, looking for unusual spikes, errors, or just behaviors that don't fit the normal pattern. It's essentially an early warning system designed to make sure the whole thing is operating safely and for the benefit of its users, catching those little glitches before they can escalate into total disasters. So we have these fast-thinking smoke detectors. That's our System 1. Now let's see how they plug into the slow-thinking, deliberate supervisor, our System 2. This is where all the pieces come together in what we can call an AI ethics officer. Think of it as an independent system that acts as a supervisor. It takes those fast signals from our detectors, compares them against a baseline of what good behavior looks like, and when a principle is breached, it escalates the issue to a human committee. It's a complete workflow for turning those fast little beeps into slow, reasoned action. And this illustrates the ultimate goal so beautifully. Think of it like music. You know, AI can improvise and explore, but a really good composition always returns to its tonal center. For AI, that tonal center has to be our core principles: respect, beneficence, and justice. This whole system is designed to make sure that no matter how complex the AI gets, it always returns to that ethical home base. So here's the crucial point. This is not some magic perfect solution. It's a starting point. And it's incredibly important that we're honest about the challenges and the limitations of trying to build something like this. And it's absolutely fair to ask the skeptical question. I mean, this all sounds great on a slide, but is it practical? Or is it just a nice idea that's going to crumble under real-world pressure from business, from politics, and just the sheer complexity of it all?
And there are very real hurdles. Principles like justice can be messy and subjective. Trying to audit for fairness is incredibly hard when you don't have all the data. A system that raises too many false alarms is just going to get ignored, right? And giving an AI ethics officer real teeth, that's a political challenge inside an organization, not just a technical one. The people building these prototypes are the first ones to admit these limits.
And that brings us right back to where we started, in Plato's cave. Look, the goal here isn't to build a perfect, flawless system overnight. The point is to start building the tools that help us answer this one fundamental question. Because as a dad, the creator of these ideas worries about the shadows his own kids will grow up seeing as reality. If AI is going to shape their world, we have a duty to ensure those shadows illuminate and empower, rather than distort and deceive. And that is a project worth starting today.